Welcome to the Real Estate Show on KMED this May 14th of 2016. Pete Balcaster and Joe Brett, the real estate guys, with you. We're both real estate brokers with John L. Scott of Southern Oregon, and we get together with you once a week here on KMED to talk about all sorts of real estate-related issues and topics. And, well, we've been doing this for almost 7 years, and we haven't run out of topics, Joe, since we've started this thing. And yet today, we're talking about a topic we've never talked about before.
No, it's a good way to keep expanding our horizons and things, because so many things play into our industry with real estate.
Well, we have the smartest listeners, the smartest real estate consumers in Southern Oregon who listen here every week here on KMED. We really do. Yeah. People say that, actually. Learn a lot. Today, well, John Spillman from Earth Advantage is joining us here in the house today at KMED. And, when you think, I told you, I think Earth Advantage, I've heard those terms for many years. I remember when we first came to the Valley, Joe, there was a program, Super Good Sense. Remember that?
Yeah.
The city of Ashland, I know, had that at one time. And these programs today, according to John, they've kind of taken over those types of programs. And here you are, Earth Advantage is here, and it seems like it's going pretty well. And welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Pete. Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having us on to talk about Earth Advantage.
Well, how did Earth Advantage actually, for people who don't know, its background, how did it start? What is it about?
Yeah, it started back in the 90s. It was actually a conservation program within Portland General Electric. And then in 2006, it spun out to become an independent nonprofit organization onto its own. Mm-hmm. And consequently was offered and has been offered statewide since.
So statewide, you have to be a member or have to be a customer, I should say, of Pacific Power, right? No?
Well, not actually for Earth Advantage. That's available
Anybody.
Absolutely statewide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what you're speaking to is Energy Trust of Oregon's programs.
Oh, that's right. Energy Trust.
Which we should talk about today, too.
We will talk about that, yeah. But Earth Advantage, though, how does it actually work then? What's important about it? Why should someone, sitting listening to us today think, man, this might be something worth I want to look into?
Well, there's a number of benefits for a homeowner, somebody who's thinking about buying an Earth Advantage home. First and foremost that come to mind in many cases are the energy efficiency leading to lower operating costs.
Okay.
But there's a number of other benefits associated with a certified home. One is the fact that it's been inspected for quality. Because it participated in the program, there's been verifiers who have come out and actually helped the builder with a quality assurance review and looking at the building to make sure that it was done right, that all of the features that have been built into it that are above code have been installed properly.
Okay. Now, when you say above code, above code, you're building an Earth Advantage home. Are they mostly new homes? Is that where I can find most Earth Advantage homes would be in new construction?
Typically, yes. There's been over 14,000 new homes that have been certified across the state.
Wow.
And our new home program dates back to 2006. About 2 years ago, we actually launched a remodel certification program for Earth Advantage for those who wanted to remodel a home with the same guidelines and the same principles for improving an existing home and bringing it into sustainability, energy efficiency, water conservation, and so forth.
Now, we're seeing lots of new building, Joe, in East Medford, not so much certain other parts of the valley.
White City, Eagle Point.
White City. We've seen what's going on, especially in Hayden Homes, East Medford, up on Innsbruck Ridge, whatever. So, John, are these homes, or some of these homes being built to as Earth Advantage homes that you're seeing right now in the Rogue Valley?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've had a number of builders that have participated in the program for years. I think we started down here in Southern Oregon in around 2008, and there's been over 300 homes here in the Rogue Valley across Southern Oregon that have been certified, and a number of builders who have been participating for years.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they must be successful then. But what about, isn't the when you want to do an earth or a green home, I guess is the term or whatever you use there, but the bent on it is always that it's going to cost me more money as a consumer if I do this, right? I mean, if I get an Earth Advantage home and I do this, I'm going to add cost to my home. And
how
a lot
much
of builders
does it
don't want
add?
to do. Is that true? Does it cost more? What is that story about that?
Yeah. There are some additional costs at the time of construction. However, they're not necessarily overwhelmingly additional high costs. You can with anything, you can spend too much money.
Sure.
But there are a lot of measures that are available and to certify a home as well as incentives that are available through Energy Trust of Oregon's programs if you're a customer within the territory of Energy Trust that will help offset those additional costs.
I like incentives.
Yeah, most people do.
They incentivize me.
They do.
They inspire me. When you come in with a new home and you come in to do the audits as the construction goes on, what are some of those above code things that you help them with, or some of the things that are going to make that home stand out in an energy efficient way? Yeah.
There's a higher level of efficiency in the equipment, the appliances that are installed. There's a minimum number of efficient lighting fixtures that have to be, generally around 80% of the lights need to be LED or CFL light bulbs. And then, of course, higher levels of insulation in the shell itself than what is required by code. And then one of the other major differences is an effort and a training. Really, it's a training program for the builders to seal up the house so that it has no air movement running through the structure and undermining the insulation. And we call that, in the industry, we call that air sealing.
Air sealing.
Yeah, whole house structural air sealing versus the air sealing that most of us think about with weather stripping around the doors. We're talking about air sealing within the structure.
Yeah.
And that's really important for the insulation to work properly. And it also helps safeguard your indoor air quality. Because a lot of us have air flowing through the structure and it's invisible. We don't know it's happening. And what it's doing is it's acting like a conveyor belt through the walls and just stripping heat out of the house. So that's one of the major differences. Our code in Oregon has some optional measures where you can do air sealing, but it's not required as a baseline, as part of the prescriptive code. But it is for any home participating with Energy Trust of Oregon's programs as well as Earth Advantage to have it air sealed and actually tested for how tight at the end.
I've never heard that.
I have a mid-70s home. We've got a couple of pocket doors in the kitchen and one of the bathrooms, and I could just feel the cold airflow pouring through those. I get exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly. Pocket doors are notorious for that.
Yeah. And I've heard people, though, say that when you have a situation, like that, but it's the materials that because you're using non-formaldehydes and the materials that go into that house, you can seal it that way. But if some places, you wouldn't want to seal it because you don't know what the materials are in the house or what's coming into your house. You want to have air flow through your house, but but it's the materials that makes the difference.
It is, and one of the other differences of homes that participate in these programs is that a ventilation system has been put in for that very reason that you're talking about. Okay. Because even when we tighten up a home that has all healthy materials in, we all live in that home and we bring various items into the home and we're not always paying that close of attention.
You bring something into the house.
Furniture or even clothing. There's chemicals that off-gas off of everything that we interact with in the world, and inevitably we'll bring something in that we're not aware of what's coming on. So it's important to flush fresh air into the house on a regular basis. So consequently, all the homes that participate that get sealed up tight are required to have a ventilation system that's automated that will regularly bring in a prescribed amount of air to make sure that the indoor air quality stays high.
And we bring a lot of stuff in our house on a daily basis.
That's a pretty sophisticated system when you get to that, isn't it? Man, goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
As long as it's automated.
Well, I'm curious as to who's doing this in our valley. Okay, I mean, you say you work with builders. Who are some of the builders that are doing the Earth Advantage homes? Because Joe, so remember we've had builders in our show, and some of them are building spec houses, some of them are building apartments, some are building all sorts of different things. Are these kinds of things Earth Advantage homes that builders are actually doing then?
Yeah. There's a number of larger builders that are even building Earth Advantage certified homes or energy performance scored homes through Energy Trust of Oregon's programs on a regular basis.
Energy Performance Trust.
Or Energy Performance Score.
Energy Performance Score.
Offered through Energy Trust of Oregon. Right, so that's another program that a builder can participate with. So there's a number of larger builders like WL Moore in Twin Creeks and Central Point, Mahar Homes in Medford, Suncrest Homes in Talent.
Right, Charlie Hamilton's doing those.
Hamilton's doing those, and those are just some of the larger builders. There's a whole number of builders. Tailored Elements come to mind. Are you seeing
that, I guess, if you're having names, that the demand for this, for an Earth Advantage home certification, is becoming more mainstream, more accepted, more wanting, more demand for?
Yeah, we're seeing that. here locally as well as nationwide, there is a growing demand and a growing awareness of the benefits of having an energy efficient home, and taking advantage of some of the newer technologies and newer materials that have come into the marketplace in the past 20 years, because a lot has been learned about building science and how to make a home better.
Can I build an earth advantaged home? Is it only going to be in the upper end prices, John, or are there earth advantaged homes that are in the the 250 range, 230 ranges? I mean, is that, because there's a lot of that going up around. Can I be an earth advantage home in that price range too, or is it strictly up the upper level?
No, absolutely. The program has been designed so that it's accessible to all budgets. All budgets. So we do have some lower priced homes that are Earth Advantage certified on the marketplace right here in the Valley right now. And then there are, of course, those upper end custom homes where people really want to the budget's not a problem, and they go for it, and they reach for some of the higher edge, cutting edge technology that leads to very high levels of efficiency. And oftentimes those are the ones we see in the magazines, because those are the exciting ones to write about, and somewhat causes some misconception about certification, because it is not just the high end projects. It's available to all.
We're out at the Home Builders Home Show every year and see the newest technology that's coming for homes, and how much you can control of your home's systems, security, heating, cooling, appliances through your phone from a remote location. And the technology is really changing the game, and this is where the cutting edge, the bleeding edge, is going to be found.
Absolutely, yeah. Smart home technology is going to be part of the future of these high-performance homes. Without a doubt, we are starting to see that on a wide-scale basis now with the Nest thermostat that's available from Google, where you can control the thermostat from your phone. It also learns. It learns your behaviors, and it will adjust the furnace so that it keeps you with maximum comfort and least amount of energy use.
It's a great reference.
In other words, your home is going to do it for you. You don't have to do anything with your home. It'll heat you.
It will defeat the grandkids that turn the heat up and leave it on, or whoever is involved in that.
And we can just figure out how to get an Earth Advantage home to feed you, and then you probably be with that.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to hear that there's demand for these programs and these homes. Yeah. And my question is that why in the world would someone want to, if you're gonna go spend money on a new home, why in the world would you not want why would you not want to build it to Earth Advantage standards, right? I mean, we have, I think, in our latest MLS stats, we have about 200 to 250 new homes this year. They're going up in Jackson County. I mean, why wouldn't you make them Earth Advantaged homes? I mean, it seems like it ought to be a smart thing, because the comfort in the future, the energy savings you have for the consumer in the end is going to offset that I think it's 3% cost I've heard. I don't know. Yeah, different ranges.
It ranges. It usually falls in between 3 to 5% premium.
That's not very much in a new home that would make you want to have an Earth Advantage home.
And John pointed out as we were chatting before the show, you're going to get a bunch of that back in the end, because you're selling an Earth Advantage home.
Yeah, that's another great thing about the certification, as well as the energy performance score, is that's documentation that you can use a few years down the line. Provide that to an appraiser, and then you can actually, if you hire the right appraiser who has taken some of our courses, they can make a quality of construction adjustment and have it justified with these documents with the underwriter, and you can actually get a return on your investment at the time of sale, not just with your utility savings.
Only fair that they do so as well in the appraisal, because there is the savings, and there is those features are worth the extra effort and the extra cost to put them in.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
How difficult can I find an Earth Advantage home easily when I'm searching to find, if I'm looking for property, I want to buy something, I want to buy one of these homes if I'm going to go buy one. Is it hard to find? Because the MLS, finally has, I think,
in our additional criteria,
additional criteria is in there, but that you got to go layer after layer. It's not easy to find.
but there is a field in there for certifications where you can find Earth Advantage homes or LEED homes, and it'll tell the date it was certified. That's part of a greater effort nationwide that we're involved with, trying to green MLSs across the country, because not all MLSs have it. But here in Oregon, we have Southern Oregon MLS and our MLS up north have all added these additional fields for certification, so that people who are interested in these homes can easily find them through their agents.
Easily find them. I mean, that's
Right.
probably the hardest part of it is to do that.
Good job by our guys down here, be out in front of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm
yeah.
encouraged that so many builders are doing this, and as you said, John, also some of them are building spec earth advantaged homes.
Yes.
which surprised me.
Yeah. That was one of the things that has been going on in Twin Creeks for a number of years.
Okay.
Mahar Homes is also building certifying some of their homes that they're placing on the market. Suncrest Homes also has done that, and they felt that was really key to helping them get through the downturn that we just all experienced, because it gave them an edge in that really slow market.
Yeah.
And
some people wanted to have that earth advantaged designation with them.
Yes.
And I don't blame them. It makes total sense to do it that way. But there's also the Energy Trust of Oregon's out there, and we're going to take a break here, and John's going to tell us about programs there as well, because you want to take advantage of this stuff. I've done that several times, and it saves you money, and it makes a better investment for you, that's for sure. Hey, the Real Estate Show continues here on KMED. We're with John Spillman from Earth Advantage. We're coming right back to KMED right after this. Real Estate Show rolls on KMED this May the 14th of 2016. Pete Belcaster and Joe Brett, the real estate guys, with you. And there's lots going on here in the month of May and June. Gosh, and Memorial Day coming up. Whatever you do, hope you be safe, that's for sure. Hey, want to congratulate Colleen Padilla from So Ready, Joe. She's been on our show, many times. Right. She was named the new executive director, took Ron Fox's place. So congratulations to Colleen. That'll be fun to have her on next time. She's in charge of the whole thing.
We got a little inside conduit now to So Ready, and they do a lot of work with our local governments throughout our region.
You see them in those meetings?
I do a lot, yeah. I hear their quarterly reports quite often.
Yeah, you go to those planning commission meetings all the time there for RVTV.
Councils, commissions, you name it.
By the way, we did a TV show this last week. You can catch it on RVTV and the cable channels 180 on Charter and Channel 9 on the Action Home Net. We had a Market Watch show. Trevor Boucher, Brad Bennington, and Guy Giles were on with Joe. And, John Spillman, who's our guest today. We did a TV show with some slides about Earth Advantage that you can also watch there anytime as well. It's also available at realestateshoworegon.com. Well, John Spillman is here. John, by the way, is an instructor. Part of his gig, Joe, is that he teaches for the Earth Advantage to realtors through the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors, who sponsors this portion of our program, But it's interesting because we were talking about what you teach realtors and appraisers and building inspectors or whatever is important. That's consumers. Our listeners hear what you have to say. Yeah. Isn't that true?
It definitely is. Yeah, it's important for us to reach to the real estate professionals so that they understand the differences about these homes and ultimately can explain it to the consumers. Because
Absolutely.
We're a small nonprofit. We don't have the budget to reach out to consumers generally. This is a rare exception where I actually get to speak to people who might be buying an Earth Advantage home.
Yeah.
So it's really important for the real estate professionals to understand the differences and be able to speak to them. And then, of course, it's important for the appraisers to understand so that they can assign the values.
Well, it's another thing a real estate broker needs to know, right, Joe? Because we're like the front lines of when people who want to move here, we're like the Chamber of Commerce. We're the first people many times potential visitors meet, right, or real estate brokers.
In our day and age, they've already found the homes that are of interest to them, and they know where they are, and they know what the school districts are, and they know all of that, what's going on. What they need is for us to be out in front of these other items and these other issues, be knowledgeable about those right up front when they're looking, comparing at houses, and we can make that assessment right immediately.
And one of the things is they come in and look with, here's my list of homes, is to look for brokers and say, well, this one is the Earth Advantaged home here. These two are Earth Advantaged homes, which means that you're going to have lower utility costs. You're going to have maybe better living conditions in the places than they might be.
I'm going to evaluate and shape my offer accordingly as well.
Yeah. So there's a lot to that when you start kind of breaking that down for consumers, why it's important. Well, John, tell us what's the process actually of certification? What does it actually mean? What do you do to actually achieve this?
Yeah. It's a process that begins early on with an individual who's working as a verifier, and they are called a verifier because they're going to be going out to the site to do the inspections to make sure things are rolling and being installed the way they're supposed to be installed. But early in the process, they actually act more like a consultant and they work with the builder to help the builder understand what the differences are, what the goals are ultimately in the project, but what the differences are with regard to the materials and how they should be installed and how they need to communicate that to their subs. And they get the builder off to a good start. And then once the project begins and they start going out to the site to walk the site during construction, and then of course at the end to test it, they're looking out for. Usually it's just lapses in communication. It's oftentimes the word didn't make it from the builder to the sub down to the guy who's actually working on the ground. So
see how that could happen.
Yeah. So the verifier in a way acts as another set of eyes for the builder, actually, like a quality control. So the builder sees the verifier oftentimes as an excellent ally as part of their team.
Now, didn't you do that at one time? You were a verifier. Did you do that?
Yeah. I started working with Earth Advantage in 2009 as a verifier.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, so many of the builders that may be listening will remember me from those days, and I'd be out there, and I'd be, we're finding things all the time, like I say, usually it's just a breakdown in communication. So the builder is usually quite appreciative when you call up and say, the wrong water tank was installed. Right. It doesn't even have the efficiency level written on the side of the tank. So that's another thing that the verifier brings is we have access to the databases and we can look things up and say, actually, that's a code level tank, but you spec and you're paying your sub for an Energy Star tank. So then they'll come back and they'll swap it out. So that's part of the process of certification is the verification, and then there's testing involved. The blower door test that I mentioned earlier. The ductwork of the heating system is also going to be tested for leakiness that has to be to a certain level of air tightness. Sure. And all of that is taken into consideration and literally checked off. And then at the end, once all of those goals have been met, a certification is issued for the home and the documentation.
Now, are there energy or Earth Advantage commercial buildings? Is that or is this just for residences in your program?
Yeah, we also have a certification for small commercial.
Small commercial.
Yeah, under 50,000 square feet usually. Yeah.
50,000 is a lot. But
anyway, it is.
Yeah. But that's small. But anyway, okay, so there is a program for that.
There is, yeah. And we piloted the program a few years back, and the Camelot Theater in Talent was one of the first pilot projects. So it is Earth Advantage certified.
So the Camelot Theater, now put that on the door somewhere or something. I don't know. Is there a plaque there?
There's a plaque in the lobby.
I've never seen it. Yeah. I've been there how many times? I've never seen it.
It's a beautiful crystal plaque. I think it's by the vending area.
Well, I'm going to go look for that next time I go there. Well, that's good. So there are commercial buildings that can reach this status.
Yes, there are. And it has very similar goals of the home certification, and that is energy efficiency, of course, but also water conservation and paying attention to how the building was built, the impact on the surrounding land, and so forth, and of course, the materials that are being selected to make sure the indoor air quality is high for people that are in those buildings.
I can see why it would be more difficult, right? You would want to put new construction together for a commercial or a residence doing this on an Earth Advantage home or building than it would trying to remodel one because you don't have the material. The materials are different and everything else. So it would be more difficult.
That verifier, verifies the process, but he also verifies the value in the end that's going to go into that house with it. And I know from small home projects, home improvement projects, stuff happens, man.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine when you build an entire home and the amount of people in the subs, like you mentioned, the amount of communication it takes for all of that to come together smoothly. It's great to have that extra set of eyes that's just looking for all of those specific things that are going to give it that energy rating.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things. Well, you'll see a slogan on the yard sign out in front of an Earth Advantage home that's being constructed. It says "Inspected for Quality," and it truly is. And that's another thing that the certification brings. It's not just a piece of paper to hang on the wall. And some people are skeptical of certification programs. They say, "I don't need that piece of paper because I already build quality." Well, yeah, that is true, but if you don't have somebody, a third-party person, to actually verify it, then it's hard for an individual such as an appraiser
to
actually assign the value later.
The appraiser can't assign the value when they don't know.
Yeah, you need that.
But if I had that certification in front of me, that makes a difference.
Yeah, so that's why that's what we call third-party certification, so that it's a disinterested party and an actual document that is recognized in the marketplace.
Yeah, that's pretty good. We're going to have a break coming up here, but I want to ask you about the Energy Trust of Oregon. because I've taken advantage of that twice. All right? I've got one in my house. Remember, I got new windows. I put all new windows in, and one of those programs, not Pacific Power, one of those programs, it works. And I've done that in my building, a commercial building in Cape Falls, and new lighting and new things, and it saves it saves money for my tenants.
It's a win-win.
They're amazing programs, and. Are they still out there with that? But that was in the middle of the recession when all this was going on, back in 2008-9. You remember that? Are they still there today, John, or not?
Oh, yeah. Energy Trust is a very strong program that's been around for 14 years, and it's a separate nonprofit organization, completely separate from Earth Advantage. However, we work with Energy Trust of Oregon. They serve 1.5 million customers of Portland General Electric, Pacific Power, Northwest Natural, and Cascade Natural Gas across Oregon and in Southwest Washington. And their goals are to promote energy efficiency as well as renewable energy.
And they're great programs. We'll talk about more of those when we come back there, because even if you're remodeling, you can take advantage of these more so maybe than Earth Advantage homes or something like that. Anyway, we'll get from John Spillman, because he's the expert on this, when we continue here on The Real Estate Show. Don't forget, all of our shows are available at realestateshowOregon.com. They're free to watch anytime. Hope you'll do that. This show is presented today by the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors. We're coming right back to KMED after this. Real Estate Show continues on KMED. May 14th is our day. Hope you're going to have a terrific weekend, whatever you're going to do. The weather's going to, weather, it's been great this week, I suppose, and maybe may have some rain around a little bit, you know.
Thanks to Steph Curry, I won't be watching any more Blazer games this year.
No, you won't, will you?
Dang him. My granddaughter wants to marry him, and I'm really disappointed in that. She's a traitor.
You still live in those days, don't you? You still can't get that out of your system.
Our boys fought so hard, and they played the Warriors so tough.
Cares?
And then
It
Steph
doesn't
just
matter.
drains it.
It doesn't matter. Anyway, as you know.
And not as important as home prices and things like that.
No, it's not. It really isn't in the scheme of things for most people. John Spillman works with Earth Advantage. It's a Portland-based nonprofit, actually, spun out of Portland General Electric, where it was a program instituted by that company and expanded statewide. And what we've learned today from John, my goodness, what we got, how many homes? 300 in Jackson County or Earth Advantage home certification?
Yeah, over 300. I don't have the exact number, but we've been doing it down here since 2008.
And growing. And growing. I think that's the big story today, and growing. More homes are doing that.
And when our new construction is taking off again, and it's perfect timing. You've been established here and should really get going for you.
Again, if you're going to buy a new home or build a new home, make it Earth Advantage home. Why would you not? I would do that.
Yeah,
I really would.
It's a real missed opportunity if it isn't done when the home is built, because it's so much cheaper to implement these strategies when it's at the time of construction.
And you're going to enjoy your home more. It's going to be lower utility bills out of it and a better resale. I don't know. I see a win for everything on that type of thing. John, let me go back to the Energy Trust of Oregon stuff, because a lot of people don't know how to take advantage of some of their stuff. So what could someone do with the Oregon Energy Trust programs?
Yeah, Energy Trust of Oregon has programs for new construction, for existing homes. They even have programs for agricultural, industrial, and commercial. So it's all
really. I didn't know that.
It's for all users of those four utilities, users of power from those four utilities. On the residential side, of course, what we usually dovetail really well with Earth Advantage certification is the energy performance score. So a builder can participate in Energy Trust of Oregon's New Homes program, and it's focused on energy efficiency. And at the end of satisfying all the requirements for that, they receive an energy performance score, which is meant to be like a miles per gallon rating for the home. And it is a scorecard that predicts how much energy the home will use, and it also shows estimated monthly and annual energy costs. So a real estate professional can provide this information for somebody considering a home that's participated in the New Homes program, and it'll actually give them an idea of what the operating cost would be for that home.
Wouldn't it be cool? Think about this: when you're with clients, Joe, you go look at a home. You say, we're going to go look at these 5 homes today, and you go into them and you have this score, so people know exactly what the estimated monthly energy costs are, and what your score is, and what your potential future might be. I like that. That's really cool.
That's huge. The property taxes, the utility costs are a couple of the big factors when you really scale down to what is it going to cost me per month to to live in this residence and operate this residence. And those numbers are really valuable.
Yeah, those utility costs are usually the second next after property taxes.
And how can I get energy performance score on my house? Is that possible to do? I mean, we each got a house. I mean, can we get a score on our homes?
Yeah, it's available for existing homes as well.
Okay.
So one can contact an energy rater or find an energy rater on Energy Trust of Oregon's website under the Find a Contractor feature. And in there, you can sort by zip code. And there's professionals in our local area who are called home performance contractors.
Home performance contractors.
Yeah, and they specialize in improving homes for energy efficiency. And they also have the ability to do an energy audit. And that's what it takes in order to create an energy performance scorecard.
Okay.
Because the score is based upon a computer simulation. So the individual has to have the skills to not only test the home but also model it in a computer software.
It'll be interesting to see. We should do that you should do it in your house. I should do it in my
I
house.
Disclosed.
And see what we would have there.
I already disclosed I have pocket doors, so you don't even need to come by my house.
Now, John, did you say that there's a program the city of Ashland or something is offering on this, or something that people in Ashland can do?
Well, yeah, the city of Ashland has their own conservation.
Their own energy audit, the energy conservation division.
Their own conservation division. Because they are their own utility, they're not
part of
Energy Trust of Oregon.
Right.
So they're a separate territory. So you have to contact them directly for their efficiency programs. But they are currently involved in a pilot where they're doing some energy performance scores. So they're evaluating being able to issue energy performance scores within the city of Ashland.
Well, as much as we're seeing, as you talked about, apps coming in where you can run your house from your phone anywhere in the world, and it goes on and on. It seems like this is a natural extension of this thing of knowing more about your house, knowing more of its costs, more of its true costs, knowing more of its energy efficiencies, that it goes right along with this. If you want to know, well, if you're going to go sit there and worry about fixing your heater and you're in San Francisco somewhere back here in a day, then this makes some sense that you may want to have this to go along with that.
Conservation might want to be on our minds with 7 billion people on the planet and counting. I mean, we're seeing the effects, and it's just
utility costs are not going to go down. And I think as we use more and more energy, we better start using it wiser. And I know that when people buy appliances, I mean, I go and I kind of bought a whole bunch recently as well. And I looked at everything, wanted it to be, was it Blue Star or what are those Energy Star
Yes.
Rated appliances, right? Again, why would you not buy? And I know they're not that much more money, really. I mean, I think over the years they've come down in price. Why would you not want to buy those for your place? It's going to save you money in the long run.
Yeah, it is. It's always it's a short term versus long term perspective, and it usually is going to be better financially in the long term if you spend a little bit more money up front. Yeah. And all of these products and certifications and features that are built into certified homes, they're all being put to a cost-effective test too. They're not going to be the cutting edge where it's got a very long payback. They're always going to be incentivized through the programs through Energy Trust of Oregon, and they're going to be cost-effective, meaning that it makes sense.
Well, you want to be a smart real estate consumer, I think you should definitely look at Earth Advantage and Oregon Energy Trust programs. There's no question about that. John, how can someone get a hold of you, by the way, if they have more questions or anything about the Oregon Energy Trust or about Earth Advantage? How can they find you?
Sure. Well, they could go to our website, earthadvantage.org. They also welcome to send me an email directly at jspillman, JSPILLMAN, at earthadvantage.org, and I'd be happy to answer any questions about our programs or Energy Trust of Oregon's new home program.
Earthadvantage.org. I was there I think because I didn't know what this was, and I learned a whole lot. And I think it's great to have you here because it's great to hear people doing this, and people who are out there are seeing the advantage in being a smart real estate consumer by doing this.
These really are the cutting edges of our industry moving forward.
All right. Well, we're out of time, John, so we got to roll along. Thanks for being here. We'll do it again soon. All right. And, of course, John also teaches a course for the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors. That'll do it for the Real Estate Show today on KMED. For Pete Belcaster and Joe Brett, hey, have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next Saturday here on KMED, and God bless you all.
You've been listening to The Real Estate Show on KMED AM and FM radio, presented by John L. Scott Real Estate of Southern Oregon, along with All Cities Property Management, the Home Builders Association of Jackson County, Ditech Mortgage, the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District, and the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors. For guest information or to watch a past show, visit us online at realestateshoworegon.com. Join us again next weekend for Southern Oregon's one and only Real Estate Show on KMED.